harmful traditional practices that you do not know of. Come close and let us learn. What are harmful traditional practices? These are cultural practices that are considered discriminatory and have been practiced or committed over a long period of time, such that the society considers it acceptable. 1. Child marriage. This is a union between a person who is under the age of 18. Most times, this union is committed so as to clear debts. For instance, in the case of money wives in Calabar, Cross River State, in this case, a family has procured debts, probably to solve a particular need in the family, and they have used their child as collateral. Now, when the family is unable to offset this debt, what do? They use the child in exchange. Victims of child marriage run the risk of contracting vesico-vaginal fistula or recto-vaginal fistula. They are also prone to other sexually transmitted infections, increased rate of poverty, definitely, because they are expected to submit to whatever their spouses says, and most times it is under extreme hard conditions because they are not considered as living entities. They are maltreated, they face different kinds of violence and much more. 2. Ghost marriage. This is where a living brother of a deceased or his family member marries a wife in the name of the deceased. Now, in this system of marriage, the wife is free as air and allowed to commit sexual intercourse as much as she likes. What this means is that there's increased rates of HIV and other forms of sexually transmitted infection. She's prone to contracting sexually transmitted infection because she's allowed to just do as she likes, be free as she likes. Ghost marriage, all the family cares about is for the woman to bear a child in the name of the deceased. Levirate. In this system of marriage, the widow of a deceased is expected to marry his brother or living younger brother in order to bear children in the name of the deceased. Under the levirate system, a man who died too early or unable to have a child before his death will get to have children in his death. Under the levirate system, the social father is the deceased, while the biological father is the living father whom the widow is married to. Is surrogate. Under this system of marriage, the man is married to his late wife's sister. That is, the sister of the dead wife is married to the brother. That is, brother-in-law gets married to sister-in-law. The new wife becomes the substitute or successor of the late wife. Surrogate culture is practiced in the Kanuri region of Nigeria and some parts of South Africa. Woman to woman marriage. This system of marriage usually occurs when a wealthy woman, or it's a contract marriage where a wealthy woman marries a girl or a woman in order to bear children in the name of her late husband. The woman to woman marriage, the married woman is given promiscuity license to do as she likes, as long as she's able to bear children in the name of the deceased. Also, for the continuity of the marriage, this system of marriage doesn't only lead to sexual violence, because I said it's the marriage between a wealthy woman, a girl or another woman. Now, a girl is obviously a child, a person under the age of 18. This is considered sexual violence, and apart from the risks of sexual violence, it is also the married person is prone to contracting sexually transmitted infection because she is saddled with the responsibility of getting pregnant in order to continue her marriage. Another harmful cultural practice is polygamy. In this system of marriage, the man has no limit to the number of wives he can marry at a time. Quite similar with polygamy, but in this case, he has no limit to the number of women he can marry at a particular time, and the women are as free as a bird. they have the liberty to be promiscuous, they have the tendency to be promiscuous because the man cannot cater for all of them, both sexually, materially, and otherwise. This next harmful cultural practice is quite fun. It is called wife of a sterile husband promiscuity license. It occurs in many parts of Africa, and for this type of marriage, the man is allowed to marry many wives, and they will perform rituals on all of them in order to enable them flex. In some parts of Africa, it is forbidden for a woman to be promiscuous, or for a woman to have extramarital affairs. So they perform rituals to enable them flex and conceive, bear children in the name of this man. This type of marriage is risky because the women are prone to HIV. They are having sex. They are having sex as they like, and most times it is unprotected because they are not considering, their safety. It promotes the spread of HIV/AIDS, and even if condoms are available, sometimes it's of no use because they are they are being allowed to, sleep with as many sexual partners as they can. One is not even enough in this case, most times in this case. Another harmful traditional practice is the son preference. This occurs in many homes in Africa where a female child is not considered a child. In this case, the female child is not considered a living being, a living entity, and even because of that reason, infanticide is done. Once the embryo or the fetus is already, once the pregnancy is confirmed that it's a female, what happens next? Abortion. They just do it at will because they do not consider it male preference or son preference. It brings about different types of discrimination. The woman is not permitted to participate in most decision making settings. She's not entitled to some kind of inheritance because she's considered less human. Another which I want to speak about is violence against women. Yes, I know harmful traditional or cultural practices falls under violence against women, but violence against women in this case is standing alone because there are some family settings that considers it as a culture. Yes, it's a cultural practice in some homes, in some family settings. It is believed that if they do not hit a woman or a girl child, without any reason, then they will not exercise authority. This is a harmful traditional practice that must be abolished. In fact, all harmful traditional practices must be abolished. The next one is female genital cutting, also known as female genital mutilation. This is the removal of part or most of the female genitals. Most times, most cultures that practice this in Africa, they do it they do it in a big way. They celebrate it in a big way because they feel, how they attribute the woman to being profane and pure and attach her to sexual purity and the likes. Now, for this type of harmful traditional practice, it has brought about severe consequences, from pain during sexual intercourse, even death, untimely death. It has brought about so many things: urinary tract infections, urinary problems of different kinds, abdominal pains of different kinds, and so on and so forth. Harmful traditional practice I bet you did not know of is the reserved or retained daughter. In this case, a father has only daughters, and so he reserves some of them with the sole purpose of them engaging in sexual intercourse at their own will, at whatever point in time. They don't think protection. For this one, the sole purpose is for them to conceive children for the family, and so they have the promiscuity license. They are as free as a bird to do as they like. They know they are not questioned, nothing. They are not to get married. They are only in that family to conceive, to bear children in the family name. Such reserved females are socially permitted to live promiscuous life because their father cannot have sexual intercourse with them. Sexual fathers having sexual intercourse with their daughters is another harmful cultural practice. Other harmful cultural practices that are not limited to, but it's going to be the last for this video, but it's not limited to, is the widowhood practice. I consider this as sheer man's wickedness, sheer man's humanity to a woman, nothing more. In this case, the woman is exposed to very terrible ritualistic rites just to test her innocence over her husband's death. You know how it is now. When a man dies, it's the woman that kills him. But when a woman dies, the man is allowed to move on the next minute. This is practiced in many African societies. Some of these obnoxious practices include a woman being locked up in a room for a day with a dead body, a woman being forced to drink the water used to bathe the dead body, a woman being instructed, being forced not to scratch her body for any reason until the dead body is buried, a woman not being allowed her economical rights, her financial rights until a year after the man is buried. She's not allowed to go about her business, her usual business. She's not allowed to go to the market. She's just instructed to stay at a place, sometimes in the man's village, especially in Africa. She's forced to sleep with the husband kinsman when not designated by a brother. Remember, I talked about levirate, and I also talked about um widow inheritance, where the woman is, acquired in quote by her husband kinsman or her own son, or the the deceased son, which it could be her own son, and she becomes the wife to her husband's son. I think he played out in one popular Nigerian movie. Can't remember the name. It's even a story written by one of our profound writers in the country. It is a harmful cultural practice. The widow is required to pick a kola nut, put in the man's hand. When I mean the man's hand, the dead body's hand, and chew. The widow is not allowed to eat some dishes like egg, milk, and so on until after 3 months of the deceased funeral. The widow is forced to shave her hair until after the month, most times after a year. Please note, this is quite controversial. Yes, some persons love their spouses so much, like the loss or the sudden death of their loved ones hits them so hard, and in loving memory of them, they decide to shave their hair. Some families have seen children do it for their fathers, to like a form of last respect, last honor. I've seen wives do it willingly, but when a woman is being forced to do it against her wish, in some cases, the disease, maybe while he was alive, the wife's hair used to be his turning point. It used to be his turn on. And there are some men that can't stand women on low cut, and then he now passes on, and the family forces her to go shave off that hair. That is a harmful traditional practice. Not the least in this video, I call it husband's extramarital sex. In this case, the husband's extramarital sex freedom is socially approved. The promiscuous license is given to men in marriage, exposing their wives to sexually transmitted infections, HIV, and the likes. The husbands flirt with reckless abandon because they feel it's their God's given right. In this case, it is a harmful traditional practice. Like I mentioned earlier, this harmful traditional practice I have shared in this video is not all. It is not limited to, there are varieties of them. Why am I doing this? I am trying to throw the spotlight into these issues. If they are still happening in your family, in the village you come from, in the society you come from, please take a stand. Say no to them. Let us make life bearable for women. Let us make life bearable for ourselves. My name is Amarachi IfeomaTalks. I run the brand IfeomaTalks. Please do well to support my brand by liking, sharing, watching. I welcome opinions. I welcome comments. I welcome alternate. I love to hear people rub minds. If you feel something I said does not, it does not sit well with you, please feel free to share. Let's rub minds. Let us learn, unlearn, relearn, ask questions. That is why I am availing my platform. Please do well on Facebook. You find me there. On Instagram, you find me. On YouTube, you find me. On Facebook, I am Amarachi Ifeoma Ogochukwu. I have a page, Ifeoma Talks. On YouTube, Ifeoma Talks. Please do well to follow me, like, share, subscribe. If you watch till the end. Till I come your way next time, do stay safe and ensure that you do not encourage harmful traditional practices.